My name is Joe Peroni, and this is the Rise Above Project. And today I want to talk about a very important subject to me. I think I might do more than one show on this topic. Today we're going to talk about the one and only way to overcome adversity and struggle in your life. Now, I know that there's a lot of therapists out there and life coaches that have these long laundry lists of what to do to overcome adversity. And I think I'm going to give you their top 10 on this. But understand this, those top 10, they don't work. None of them really work. But I do have one way that's not on their list that is going to help you overcome adversity. So let me put this right up front because I want to kill some of the suspense. When I was trying to prepare for the show, I was talking to a few friends this week. And I could have talked to a whole bunch, but I narrowed it down to about 3. 2 of them have been in business for a long time and they're multimillionaires. And one of them is a champion in the UFC fighting. I think we all know what that is. And I was asking them about how to overcome adversity. And then I showed them the list of 10 that a lot of these therapists and life coaches put out there. And I don't mean just any life coach. I'm talking like Tony Robbins type of life coach. And we all did the same thing. We all left because they don't work. So without further ado, here it is, the one way to overcome adversity. You want to have a goal. You want to have a reason, a dream, or a calling that's so incredibly meaningful to you that you are willing to do anything and to be anything that you need to be in order to reach that. You need to be fully convinced that being a lazy type of loser or being a quitter or somebody who just doesn't do anything, that's apathetic, that will be far, far more painful than any possible adversity or struggle could ever be while you're trying to reach or achieve your goal. And that's it. I could end the show right there, but you probably don't believe me. Now, this has been going on for centuries. Successful people have always said this. And what I mean by success is not just money and fame. It could be anything in your life. I mean, later on I'll talk about my mother, who is definitely not rich and famous. But she can definitely teach people a few things about going through struggle or adversity. And the top 10 list on the therapy and life coach, she would have laughed at that too. So Friedrich Nietzsche, the greatest philosopher who ever lived, he said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." And again, as you might think, I agree with that. Because if your why is so strong of why you want to do something in this life, how you get there and what the struggle is, it's not really adversity. It's just the cost of doing business. It doesn't mean much. You don't think about it. Now, let's go on a slightly different road here. I want to talk about AA and NA, or Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous. Now, no matter what anybody thinks about it, you can look up the numbers on this, and the numbers change a little, I understand that. But AA and NA have about a 5% success rate. You know, might be a little more here or there, but let's just go with it. It's very, very low. And they make you follow these steps. But do you know it's a lot more successful than NA and AA? Most people actually grow out of being alcohol or drug dependent. They grow out of it. They mature. And I know that sounds disrespectful to say, but bear with me for a second. How do you grow out of it? This is how you grow out of it. You'll find, because I've worked in these areas before, by the way, you'll find that a woman finds herself that she's pregnant. And then she realizes that she has a lot more empathy for her child than she ever could have for herself. So she decides, Drugs and alcohol are not that important to me. Being a mother is important to me, and I don't want to hurt my child. So there is her goal, her reason, her dream, her calling, motherhood. And so the drugs and alcohol go by the way. There's plenty of people out there that are more science orientated, that don't believe that alcoholism is a supposed disease. They think it's a developmental disorder, meaning you're just not mature yet. You haven't found what you want in life yet. And you will drop your childish games when you find something that's much more important. What about the person who does a lot of drugs and alcohol and they find out that they can't hold a job because getting wasted on a Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night is not conducive to being a good employee? They can't hold a job. They have the wrong type of friends. Pretty soon they're riding on almost homelessness, doing some couch surfing because they can't afford a place to stay. They grow out of it. Maybe they decide, you know what? I can do my job. I'm perfectly capable of that, but I can't do it while I'm wasted or drunk. So they drop the alcohol and the drugs and they pick up the amount of hours at work and they become a good employee. And finally they find out that they can be a productive member of society and hang out with the right people and people are not trying to hurt them or take advantage of them. Again, that you grow out of alcohol and drug addiction. And that's a big part of it. So, like I was saying before, there's 10 on the list. There's more, but I narrowed it down to 10. That again, these supposed therapists and life coaches believe that helps you to overcome adversity. So let's go over those so I can refer to them a little bit more. So one of them would be is to stay positive. They say you need to be a persistent person, be inspired, validate your feelings, have an alternative strategy, be around positive people, do some writing or journaling, be in nature, find the lesson in your mistakes, and if you mess up, just try again. Now, these things are all fine. There's nothing wrong with really any of those, except that those 10, they're a byproduct of following your goals. If you have no goals, no dreams, no major reasons, or what Nietzsche would say, do you have a big enough why to do something? These 10 don't work at all. Never. Let's go over it a little bit. So stay positive. Stay positive of what? If you don't have any goal and you don't see yourself going anywhere, you have nothing to be positive about. Of course not. You have to take action. So number 1 doesn't work. Number 2, persistence. Same thing. Be persistent at doing what? If you have somebody tells you that you need to go to college, but you don't really want to go to college, how are you going to be persistent? That's not going to work. Be inspired? Nobody can tell you to be inspired. The term inspire, inspiration, comes from inside you. Nobody can teach you that. No therapist, no life coach, nobody. That's a you job. It's an inside job. Validate your feelings. Listen, no successful person I know needs to validate their feelings every day, other than the fact that they want to be a success. That's it. Or if they lose or they don't do well, they say, God, that really sucked. Now what do I need to do better? You don't have to validate your feelings anything more than that. Alternative strategies? Let's talk about that again. So Sun Tzu wrote a book called The Art of War. And he wrote this, I don't even know how long ago. It was actually before Christ. And one of the things he said is, if you have a military and you're trying to beat somebody else's military without incurring that much damage to you, it's fine. Beat the heck out of them. But leave them an opening. Let them have a way out. Why? Because they'll take it. The other army doesn't want to go through that extra struggle and adversity and get killed. So if you're winning, leave them an opening because they'll take it. So again here, these supposed life coaches and therapists say you want to have an alternative strategy. Yeah, maybe, but most of the time that's just another way to justify you not doing your job. Because when things get tough, you're going to stop because you're trying to think of alternatives and justifications. So does alternative strategies work? No. The only way that they would work is if you are so dead set on a particular goal that if I'm walking forward and somebody puts a wall in front of me, I walk through the wall. I jump over the wall. I dig a hole underneath. I go around. Those are alternative strategies in order to get to my same goal. But that's not what they mean here by alternative strategy. They mean that when the tough get going, that's let them do it because they're tough. You, on the other hand, you're looking for ways out all the time. And people will take that. And again, go with Sun Tzu. Before Jesus was born, he was saying this. And a lot of military strategists have been saying this. So if you don't believe me, just go by some of the greats in the world. What else? Be around positive people. That sounds good, right? Because I did part of my homework today for the show by talking to some positive people that I know that are my friends that I've been around for a really long time. But here's the thing. If you're kind of a lazy person with no goals and you quit real easily and you're very apathetic, what do you think? You just cozy up? You just cozy up to good, positive, successful people that are really going out there and killing it in the world? It's not going to happen. They're not going to want to be around you. You know, the only way they're going to want to be around you, again, is if you're reaching for the goal first. Have a reason to live in your life, a why to live in your life, a calling, your meaning and purpose. If you walk around all day going, my life is boring, the world is boring, what can you do for me? You're not going to be around positive people because positive people want to be around positive people also. And you'll be the first one that they run away from. So does this work again? Just cozy up to positive people? No. No. Not unless you're doing what I'm telling you to do, is to get the goal and pursue that first. They say you should do some journaling and some writing. Sure, I love writing. I've been doing it since I was a little kid. Does it help you to get to your goal? No, not really. Action gets to your goal. Unless, of course, your goal is to be Stephen King. If you want to be a writer, you should write every day. That's different. But if you want to be a bodybuilder, don't sit around and write all day. You know, that doesn't make sense at all. I'm going to journal my feelings. How is that going to help? You know, pretty much if you're a negative person and you're writing all day and journaling, all you're doing is you're just writing down the same negative thoughts all the time. That's called rumination, which is it's a very fast road to depression. So X that one out too. Number 8 on our list is be in nature. Sure, listen, I used to love going to the beach when I lived on Long Island. I like to go outside now. I like to walk my dogs. Sure, being in the park, being in nature is great. Does it help you to reach your goal and go through incredible adversity? I don't know. Drive around any major city in the United States and you're going to see a bunch of homeless people who live outside. They literally live in nature. Is this helping them overcome their adversity, their struggle, and their homelessness? No. So X that one off your list too. Number 9, find the lesson. That's true. Yes, if you're trying to reach for a goal and you don't get it, right? Like I could go into a bodybuilding show when I was a kid and they would always go, your legs are really good, but your upper body needs like 5 to 10 pounds more muscle. Okay, I learned the lesson, go back to the drawing board, go and work hard. But how do you learn a lesson? By telling somebody to learn a lesson when they have no goal or no strategy to live a life. That doesn't help you go through adversity. Makes no sense. Cross that one off the list, unless of course you have a goal. And number 10, try again. Same thing. I am willing to fail as many times as I need to fail in order to get to my success or to my goal. But you can't do that without having, again, the goal. So does that work? If you're a therapist and a life coach and you're going to tell someone has no direction in their life, don't worry, I know how to overcome adversity. Just try again. Try again doing what? Try again trying to get more alcohol? Try again trying to get more sleep? Try again being complaining? Like, what are you going to try again to do? You know, that's why these things make no sense. So if you don't like any of that, and you can cut the show now if you want, because I know it's 15 minutes long, but I do want to say this, and some people just don't like long shows, and that's fine, but I'm going to say this anyway. You know, one of the greatest stories in history was The Wizard of Oz. And everybody says, oh, it's such a great kid's story. Well, sure, it could be. But then again, it was written from a psychological point of view, and it's supposed to teach people something. So for example, let's just take one. Let's take the lion. So the lion wanted courage. He had courage, but he didn't understand the definition. The definition of courage is having fear, but acting anyway. So the lion had fear, so he thought that he didn't have courage. What he was thinking is he needed to be psychopathic. In other words, you take action, but you have no fear of anything. Well, only a psychopath would be like that. So he didn't understand. So what happens in the story? Well, he meets a bunch of friends, and we all know who the friends are. We don't have to go through that. And they walk through down the yellow brick road. Where are they going? They're going to go see the Wizard of Oz, so he is going to give the lion courage. And where is the Wizard of Oz? In Emerald City. Let's put all this together because it's a psychological story now. So what is the color emerald for Emerald City? It's green. Now the Wizard of Oz is OZ, which back then when they wrote this, or they were alluding to it, was OZ means ounces, which means money was on the gold standard back then. So that meant gold. All right, so the Wizard of Oz meant, again, money, ounces in terms of gold. And how did they get there? Yellow brick road. Again, the color meaning gold. So you're following the gold road to get to the green city with a guy named the Wizard of Ounces. Okay, so what does the story really mean? It really means how to go through the trials and tribulations of life to success. Money, success, being there with friends, being there for your friends. So when the lion gets to the wizard, what happens? He wants to bestow courage so the wizard can give it to him. And like the wizard says, I didn't give you anything that you didn't already have. By the nature of you going through and following through the whole yellow brick road, you have exuded courage. If you want me to validate you, here's a diploma, but you already have it. And that's what I'm saying about trying to overcome adversity. These people, again, not to keep saying it, but I have to, therapists and life coaches, they're putting the cart before the horse. The 10 things that they say that help you to overcome adversity, those are actually byproducts of trying to reach for your goal or for your biggest reason or your biggest why or your calling in life. They have it flipped upside down, and that's why they don't help anybody. So that's the story about that. I mentioned, I was thinking about my mother this week, of what she would have thought about this list. She would have laughed. She wouldn't have known. She would have looked at it and go, oh, I need to validate my feelings in order to overcome the fact that I'm a single mom and I've got no money? Yeah, I'm scared to death. I'm poor and I have 2 kids to take care of. My mother worked 2 jobs. She worked incredibly hard. But here's the thing. She never showed it to us kids. Why? Because of her calling in life. She always wanted to be a mother. And she was so happy to be a mother, it didn't matter how hard she worked. I mean, I would have preferred that she could have worked a little bit less, but on her side, she never showed that she was straining or struggling emotionally. She wasn't like, oh my God, you kids eat so much, I wish I didn't have you. You know, she loved being a mother, which made the work okay because she was supporting what she wanted to be her whole life. She was very old school. The number one important job in her life was to be a mother, not to be an accountant or anything. Not that there's anything wrong with being an accountant, but I think you understand what I'm saying. You have to get to a point where you care more about the goal than the struggle. If you care more about the goal than the struggle, there really is no struggle. I'll give you an example. I, at an early age, decided that I needed to go to college. I desperately wanted to go to college. There was no way that anybody in my family was going to help me pay for it, so it took me 7 years to pay for 4 years of college. So it took me almost double. But you know what? I finished. And that's because that was the number one goal. Did I think it was a struggle? Yeah, maybe. Didn't matter though. But if I went through this list and somebody said, be inspired to go to college, you don't have to tell me that. I already made the goal. Like, what are you talking about? Somebody said, be around positive people? Are you kidding me? Here's something else that needs to be added. If you come from a low socioeconomic background and you're going to say to somebody, listen, in order to overcome adversity, you need to be around positive people. Guess what? There almost are no positive people in low socioeconomic backgrounds. In my close family, I was the only one who went to college. So how was I going to be around positive people? It didn't matter, right? So I wanted to be a bodybuilder. I wanted to win a bodybuilding show. Be around positive people in my family. Nobody in my family worked out. So how does that one even work? It doesn't. It doesn't at all. The first real job I had out of college, I barely got paid anything. But the thing is, I went for the job. I needed a job. There's your adversity right there. And they said, you know what, we want to hire you, but unfortunately, we don't have a full-time job, but we have 2 part-time jobs. Would you like the morning shift? And I said, what time is that? And they said 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. And they said, there's an afternoon shift. I said, what time is that? They said 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. And I said, okay, well, thank you. You don't have to look any further. I'll take both of those jobs, please. And so I took those jobs, both of them. Why? Because I wanted to be a personal trainer in New York City. That's why. So again, the goal, the reason, the dream, the calling supersedes sleep. Didn't matter. Did I think it was adversity and a struggle? Maybe 30 years later I can look back on it and go, yeah. But at the time, I was in my glory. But I had to get up at 3:30 to take the 411 train to get into New York City, to then take a subway, and then to walk, and then get to my job by 6, work to 9 a.m. I didn't have enough money to get to the train back home, so I stayed there and I would read books and I would work with the orthopedic surgeons up until about 4 p.m. when I had to go on my second shift, work until 8, go back down to Penn Station, take the train back home, then take another I had to take the subway, and then I had to walk home from there. And all that, I got home about 10 o'clock at night. By the time I was able to get any food in my stomach, it was about 10:30, 11 o'clock, and I had to be up again at 3. And I did that for a long time. Did I care? No. Did I think it was a struggle? So anyway, so I think you get my point. So let me reiterate one more time. The only way, the one way to overcome adversity and struggle in your life is to have a goal, a reason, a calling, the biggest why possible, because then the how won't matter. So let me leave you with this. Because I know some people are like, well, I'm not going to work that hard. I don't want to face that. I'd rather sit around and do nothing. I want to complain. I want to make other people responsible for me. Yeah, they'll buy my car. They'll buy my food. They'll give me a place to stay. The world should treat me nice, even though I just want to play video games all day. Something like that. Remember this, and I'll leave you with this. If you choose only to do the easy things in your life will be exceedingly hard. But if you choose to face the hard things in your life, then your life will be easier. I'm Joe Peroni. This is the Rise Above Project. If any of this had any value to you, please subscribe and tell a friend. Thank you.